And before we convene our meeting, we have a few of honorary resolutions. We are pleased to participate in these presentations. First up is a resolution recognizing Day. And I will invite Councilman Wamsley.
Right. Happy Halloween. Wow. So today, uh, distinct of celebrating our beautiful line. So on the cat, and thank you to everyone here taking the moment to honor cats and everyone who from the city. As to bring resolution for that, the cats and owners necessarily negative, that day would be to orient in a more positive direction from that owner, not evil. And in fact, are so firm in our city value. That brought national attention to our cats, unify hundreds of diverse neighbors over the soul, appreciating and loving cats. And so many animal care and control people in the city supporting the unique companion that cats and all provide.
Councilman, can we do this and we'll have to start?
Oh, right. Me. Right. And, well, if anyone wants to be in the middle of the pause, band music. Where is it? I like it. My swim instructor had us swimming these mornings. I was like, thank you for giving me my costume for today. Yeah.
You did swimming this morning?
Oh, man. 6 in the morning.
Okay, seize the day. Gal is still in bed.
In the water. It's a real good vibe. She brought donuts. It was cool.
Okay, I could maybe at 6 a.m. be down for a donut, for a quick swim.
Councilmember Wansley,
Yeah.
we're ready to go.
All right, redo, y'all. All right. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Get ready to hear this all again. So thank you for being here and for taking the moment to honor cats and everyone who cares for them in our city. I was asked to bring this resolution forward by residents who felt that the recent rhetoric around cats and cat owners was unnecessarily negative, and that National Cat Day would be a great opportunity to orient in a more positive direction and affirm that cat owners are welcomed and valued in our city. In fact, the Wedge neighborhood has brought national attention to our city through their Wedge Cat Tour, which is an event that unifies hundreds of diverse, yes. That Wedge Cat Tour that I was speaking of, it brings hundreds and hundreds of diverse neighbors together, all over the simple act of appreciating and loving cats. And then the city's own Minneapolis Animal Care and Control helps improve the lives of so many of our residents and animals by supporting this unique form of companionship that cats and all pets provide. And these are just a few of the many places in our city where cat owners and cat lovers are building community that is contributing to a healthy and thriving Minneapolis. So with that, I just want to say thank you to everyone who showed up today. And me and my colleagues will read this resolution before I hand the mic off to our guest and maybe our furry friend to give a few words. So both CVPs, thank you. All right. So recognizing October 29, 2024 as National Cat Day in the city of Minneapolis. Whereas National Cat Day was established in 2005 to celebrate cats and help them find forever homes. And whereas Minneapolis Animal Care and Control has cats available for adoption for adults who have consent from all adult roommates and landlords whose household pets are up to date on their rabies vaccines and have no unpaid fines or citations from Animal Care and Control. And whereas
since 2019, Minneapolis Animal Care and Control has accepted 5,838 cats, composing 38% of all animals in their care. 41% of these cats have been adopted, 38% have been transferred, and 13 have been humanely euthanized. Rest in peace. And 8% have been returned to the owner. And whereas estimates suggest that 4 million cats who enter shelters every year, 1 to 2 million of them are euthanized. And whereas U.S. News and World Reports recognize Minneapolis as one of the most popular cities to have a cat. And
whereas Minneapolis is home to the nationally recognized Wedge Live Cat Tour, an annual event that drew over 500 participants and spectators this past August. And whereas a 2024 survey seeking to determine whether various states were dog states or cat states found Minnesotans to prefer cats. And whereas in 2012, the Walker Arts Center made Minneapolis the home of the world's first ever internet cat video festival.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council do hereby recognize October 29th, 2024 as National Cat Day in the city of Minneapolis and encourages all residents to celebrate the joy and companionship that cats bring into our lives. We honor the efforts of those who advocate for feline welfare, and we encourage everyone to consider adopting a cat in need, supporting local shelters, and promoting responsible pet ownership. So thank you all. So first, want to pass it. I do know the Wedge Cat Tour, correction there, it's in June. Okay, it's in June, but yes, make sure to check that out. Who would like to speak first?
I can say a few words. It's an honor to accept this resolution on behalf of the Minneapolis cat community. I'm so glad that Taylor could join me today with her cat Rupert, who is also accepting this resolution on behalf of the cat community. Taylor, would you like to say anything? No? Okay.
Also, our folks from Animal Care.
Hello. Thank you, council members, for the support of this resolution and honoring us. I'm Tony Schnell, the Director of Animal Care and Control, and we just hosted a Clear the Shelter event on Friday and Saturday this past weekend, and I'm happy to say our team did 45 adoptions over the 2 days, so 45 new animals found their new forever homes. So yes, we have animals available at the shelter almost always for adoption, so I encourage you to come check it out. Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing this resolution and being here. I have to shout out a couple cats in my life. My family cat, Lila, the neighborhood cats in Ward 12, Elizabeth, Reg, Stella. There's some other important ones, Pumpkin, Oscar, and cannot forget Felix. And then I'll just say the cats in the Midtown Phillips neighborhood and Phillips neighborhood, you all are built different. You're very special. Thank you for just being outside and making sure that cats are well represented in our city.
Awesome. Any other words, Director? No? Okay. Well, let's get this picture. We have to come up to the line here. Yes, Rupert is a star.
Next, we will welcome up our election judges to recognize Election Judge Appreciation Day. This is a perfect segue from recognizing cats this election season. And we are here to declare November 5th, 2024 as Election Judge Appreciation Day. Woo! Whereas the city of Minneapolis is proud of its enviable reputation as a national leader in voter turnout and participation, the high-quality administration of its elections, and its unwavering focus on ensuring all eligible voters have free, fair, and equitable access to the ballot box, and whereas election judges, with their expertise, dedication, and professionalism, uphold election laws with integrity, accuracy, and a nonpartisan commitment to serving all voters equally, thereby playing a critical role in the achievement of a representative system of democracy and in building and sustaining public trust in electoral processes. And whereas an estimated 2,682 individuals have been recruited, trained, and scheduled to serve as election judges for the 2024 general presidential election, before, during, and following Election Day, and through their service, help to ensure that the election is conducted in accordance with the principles of freedom and liberty upon which the United States of America, the state of Minnesota, and the city of Minneapolis were founded. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council do hereby designate Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, to be Election Judge Appreciation Day in the city of Minneapolis in recognition of their valued service and contributions. Furthermore, the mayor and city council hereby extend their sincere appreciation and gratitude to all election judges for their service to the people of the city of Minneapolis. And it's really great to bring some levity to this topic with recognizing National Cat Day, but there's a seriousness to this, and our elections are significantly under attack. We're seeing people lighting ballot boxes on fire across the country. We're seeing people question the very foundation of what this country is built on, and we are upholding our commitment to freedom through the dedicated work of all of our election judges. They make this country what it is, and it is such a profound honor to recognize them today, and I want to hand it to some of our leaders to share a few words.
Thank you very much, Council President. Just want to extend both on myself and Katie's behalf, thank you for both the council and to the mayor for all of the support that they've shown us this year. Also to our staff, some of whom are here, and to all of the over 2,500 election judges, 500 of which are student election judges, 500 of which have second language skills, which are super appreciative that they have signed up, that they're willing to work on election day for the city of Minneapolis. And just so you all know, about 62,000 folks have already voted here in the city, which is roughly 24% of the city's registered voter base has already cast a ballot for the presidential election. And that number will continue to grow through up until election day. And then, of course, on election day, we'll see lots of folks vote. So we'll pass it along to our director, Katie Smith.
Thank you. I want to just echo what John expressed, our immense gratitude and thanks to the full council and to the mayor's office for your continued support. It is that support that allows us to do what we do to expand access to the ballot box for all of Minneapolis. Joined today with people from representing all of our different program areas. You might be familiar with like early voting, which we have representation of, but also some of our other program areas like our logistics team, our training team that educates all of the judges that are working at the polling place, our team that actually assigns all of those poll workers, makes sure they get paid, and picks out and sets up our polling locations, our team that does all of our voter outreach and education efforts, our student election judge program and our vote by mail program. I'm immensely proud of all of them, as well as Deputy Director Martin, and as well as all of our judges that are going to be serving next Tuesday. I'm thankful for the leadership of our city clerk and just, again, our gratitude to the council.
Let's bring it in for a photo. The black lines are where we're shooting for here. Thank you. Finally, we will recognize Beyond the Yellow Ribbon honorary resolution with council members Paul Masano, Rainville, and Vita.
Okay. Okay, here we are. So thank you all for coming up today. What this resolution is in honor of our employees who have worked so hard to have Minneapolis become a yellow ribbon city, and we're one of the first in the nation, I believe. Barbara, is that the truth? In the state, and thank you for your leadership, Barbara, for doing this. But perhaps Councilmember Vita could lead us off with reading the resolution.
Thank you. And thank you, Director Odom, for your work on this. Celebrating the City of Minneapolis being recognized as a Beyond the Yellow Ribbon organization. Whereas service members, veterans, and their families make tremendous sacrifices and take great risks to serve our country. And whereas service members and veterans make up approximately 10% of the city's workforce, and more than an estimated 16,000 service members, veterans, and their family members live in Minneapolis. And whereas service members and veterans need access to education, financial planning, healthcare, community awareness, quality employment, and support for their families. And
whereas the Blue Star Families Military Family Lifestyle Survey demonstrated that a top concern of active duty service members and veterans is spouse employment and veteran employment. And whereas the City of Minneapolis strives to be an employer of choice for veterans and their family members. And whereas the City of Minneapolis has established an internal Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Network. And whereas the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Network unites areas within the organizational structure by creating a comprehensive network that connects and coordinates key areas to proactively support and recognize service members, veterans, and military families. And
whereas the actual invisible support helps veterans, military families, and returning service members successfully transition to life at home and helps build a strong, compassionate community that will embrace and honor those affected by deployment. And whereas the Yellow Ribbon Program is recognized by the state and the City of Minneapolis is the 86th active recognized organization in Minnesota, and whereas the City of Minneapolis has developed an action plan which has been approved by the state of Minnesota, making Minneapolis the first city, I'll say that again, making Minneapolis the first city to be recognized as a Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Master Organization in Minnesota. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the mayor and city council do hereby acknowledge and celebrate that the city of Minneapolis has been recognized as a Beyond the Yellow Ribbon organization. So thank you. And Director Odom, you've worked very hard on this, as has Barbara, and I'm wondering if you'd like to say a few words.
I would just say that we're very excited. It means a lot to us to be the first city recognized as the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon city. I just found out that this was years of hard work that started before I got there. And I just want to say a quick thank you to Rich Perocha and our TA team for helping us really get this across the finish line.
And Barbara, you came to me in 22 with this idea. Would you like to say a few words now that we got over the finish line?
Absolutely. So as the executive sponsor for the ERG, Employee Resource Group, known as America, when I arrived at the city in my role, I learned that we were not a yellow ribbon city. And so on behalf of the men and women who wear the uniform, I made it a priority for us to accomplish this today. So this resolution is actually a testimony to all the men and women who wear the uniform and serve our country. I want to give a shout out to an individual who actually started this process and was not able to see it through as a city employee because she retired before this day arrived. Meg, who put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to see this happen, hopefully we'll be able to see and recognize that this resolution has happened and we achieved this.
Thank you so much. And if we could get between the black lines here, we'll get a photo.
At this time, I'm going to call this regular meeting of the City Council for October 31st to order. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Ellison. Here. Councilmember Koski.
Present.
Councilmember Wansley.
Present.
Councilmember Jenkins is absent. Councilmember Palmisano.
Present.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Present.
Councilmember Cashman is absent. Councilmember Osman.
Present.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilmember Vita.
Present.
Vice President Shugtai.
Present.
President Payne.
Present.
There are 11 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. Before we begin the meeting, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members and staff that this meeting is broadcast live to enable greater public participation. The broadcast includes real-time captioning as a further method to increase the accessibility of our proceedings to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully capture and transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comments. With that, the agenda for today's meeting is before us. Are there any amendments to the agenda? I will recognize Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Council President Payne. So colleagues, I am making a motion to amend the agenda to add an item under new business. This is a motion requesting that the city auditor undertake an independent after action review of the cases involving Davis Maturi and John Sachek. This motion came out of robust conversations had on this body just this past Tuesday at the Committee of the Whole, and the urgent need for a serious investigation of how the city failed Davis Maturi, a Black man seeking basic protection from an imminent public safety threat that he repeatedly and clearly reported to MPD and asked for help. I'm sure there's going to be much more discussion on the item itself, but for now, I will move to add this item to the agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Wansley has moved to amend the agenda. It's been properly seconded. Is there any discussion on that? The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries, and that item is added to the agenda. Is there any other discussion or questions? Vice President Shugtai.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to bring forward another amendment to our council agenda on behalf of, I know this is something Councilmember Cashman will be authoring. She's not here at the meeting right now, but I know had made us aware that she would be a little bit late this morning. So this motion is to add under the order of notice of ordinance introductions a notice of intent relating to amending the commercial tobacco and related products ordinance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries, and the item's added to the agenda. Is there any further amendments?
President Payne and council members, the community would like to ask for a brief period of time to talk about the Maturi matter and to have some input into your discussions.
Unfortunately, we don't take public comment during council meetings.
Well, I think you're going to today. For nearly a year, the city and the MPD community
Please,
provide Davis and Caroline
ma'am.
Maturi with the safety all of us deserve.
Security.
We must get to the business of our meeting.
Who made numerous racist threats, rants, and attacks.
Mr. Clerk, let's call a recess for 5 minutes.
Yes, sure.
Why would you guys call a recess?
This is in recess.
Why are other things more important than a Black man and his family being treated discriminatorily?
upset, but we are tired, and we've been in this situation many times. And I know this council has done incredible work, and we're asking for you right now to do that. And I know you're united on this after action. We need this to be expanded. It needs to be clear, because I don't believe that, especially the third party is critical important, because we know, not the BCA, we need to be able.
Thank you for, again, staying and listening and understanding that we don't want to be here. We don't want to have to come here. We just want you all to seek justice and to see the lives of Black people and to value the lives of Black people and to not allow these things to continue to happen.
We're about to come back online, and we also want to give you the proper space to be able to have your comments recorded on the public record. And so Councilmember Chavez has agreed to create a public comment period in our committee of the whole next cycle, and we want to make sure that you have that opportunity to share that on the record. So thank you.
Mr. President, I think we left off with, we had approved 2 amendments to the agenda, one that Councilmember Wansley had brought forward, approved, and one that Council Vice President Shugtai on behalf of Councilmember Cashman brought forward that was approved. So the item pending is adoption of the agenda with those 2 amendments included.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and the agenda is adopted as amended. The next item is acceptance of the minutes from our regular meeting on October 17th. I would entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and those minutes have been accepted. Finally, we have the referral of petitions, communications, and reports to proper committees. May I have that motion, please?
So moved.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and those matters have been referred. The next order of business is the presentation of reports from our standing committees. Those are taken in alphabetical order, beginning with our Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee, which will be presented by that committee's chair, Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, President Payne. The Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee is bringing forward 20 items for approval. The first is a gift acceptance from Versaterm for 2 Minneapolis police employees' registration fees. Number 2 is a gift acceptance from Minneapolis Board of Business Agents of cost of refreshments. 3 is a bid for liquid sodium hydroxide. 4 is a bid for telecommunications equipment. 5 is a bid for the 5th Street parking ramp project. 6 is a bid for large diameter storm main inspection and televising north project. 7 is a bid for crushing rubble concrete. 8 is a bid for bypass sewage pumps. 9 is a contract with State of Minnesota for air quality monitoring stations on city property. 10 is contracts for 2024 housing opportunities for persons with HIV and AIDS grant funding. 11 is a contract amendment with Trapeze Software Group, Inc. for additional professional services for the fleet and fuel management software. 12 is a contract amendment with Olson and Nesvold Engineers, PSC, for engineering and design services for 10th Avenue Bridge over the Midtown Greenway. 13 is a contract amendment with Thomas & Sons Construction, Inc. for the Green Central Safe Routes to School project. 14 is contract amendments for the Language Services Pool for interpreting and translation services. 15 is a legal settlement claim of Charles McMillan against the city of Minneapolis. 16 is a legal settlement Village Homes at St. Anthony Falls, HOA v. City of Minneapolis. 17 is a legal settlement, Alano Society of Minneapolis v. City of Minneapolis. 18 is a legal settlement workers' compensation claim of Amy Colgrove. 19 is a legal settlement worker compensation claim of Deborah Hubert. And then 20 is a legal settlement workers' compensation claim of Michael Montgomery. And I will move all items for approval with the exception of 18 and 19 and 20.
Councilmember Wansley has moved approval of the report minus items 18, 19, and 20. Is there any discussion on the remainder of the report? Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to just comment on a couple of items. I wanted to thank the Aliveness Project for stepping up and taking over the contract from Rainbow Health to provide housing for people living with HIV and AIDS. And I just wanted to give a shout out to my friend and my constituent, Charles McMillan, who was on hand at the scene when George Floyd was murdered. He gave a powerful testimony that I believe really helped to indict the officers and subsequently have them put in jail. And so I just want to thank Charles for his bravery in that situation, being willing to come into the system and testify against police officers, which is a very, very challenging thing to do. So I'm glad we're acknowledging him, and I just want to say thank you, Mr. McMillan.
Seeing no other, Councilmember Wansley.
My apologies, Council President. I do want to actually add 1 through 17, and then add 20 for items to consider, and then those taken out for a separate vote will be items 18 and 19. So 117 through 20 is what we will take up right now.
Okay. Any further discussion on items 1 through 17 plus 20? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Vito.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainbow.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries and those items are adopted. Next, we will take up items 18 and 19. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Vito.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Nay.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainbow.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
No.
Vice President Shugtai.
Nay.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 9 ayes and 3 nays.
That carries and the full report is adopted. The next report is from our Budget Committee, and that report will be presented by that committee's chair, Vice President Chugtai.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Budget Committee is bringing forward 3 items today. Item number 1 is appointments to the Capital Long Range Improvement Committee. Item number 2 is adopting findings and passage of ordinance related to the appointed position in the City Attorney's Office for Director of Administration. And item number 3 is adopting findings and passage of ordinance for the proposed position of Deputy Records Management and Data Practices in the Office of City Clerk. I'll move approval of the committee's report.
Vice President Chugtai has moved approval of the Budget Committee's report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Vito.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainbow.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries and the report is adopted. Next, we have the report from our Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee, which will be given by that committee's chair, Councilmember Osman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Business Housing Inspection, the Biz Committee is bringing forward 14 items. Item 1, approving a liquor license for North Star. Item 2 is a passage of ordinance approving the right of first refusal to the sale of affordable housing. This is being forwarded without recommendation. Item 3 is approving 1 liquor license. Item 4 is approving 32 liquor license renewal. Item 5 is approving 2 gambling license renewal. Item 6 is a resolution approving the City Advisory Committee on Housing to serve as advisory board to the mayor and council on housing-related issue matters. Item 7 is approving legislative directive related to the proactive rental inspections. Item 8 is a passage of resolution approving a contract for Lake Street Fund with Graves Foundation. Item 9 is a passage of resolution approving the decertification of 4 TIF districts. Item 10 is approving a unit modification to the Portland Village project. Item 11 is a passage of resolution approving livable community grant from the Met Council. Item 12 is a passage of resolution approving the fall of 2024 brownfield grants. Item 13 is a resolution of approving the street vacation for Irving Avenue. And item 14 is a passage of ordinance approving regulation governing cannabis businesses. I will move all items except item 2, which I will table for discussion.
Councilmember Osman has moved the report and pulled out item number 2 for further discussion. Is there any discussion on the remainder of the report? Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. I do want to.
Microphone.
Thank you. I do want to speak to item 2 when that comes up, but I just briefly wanted to speak to item 12, which is some more brownfield grant funding. There's 2 high-rises in Ward 3 on Spring Street, very close to your ward, Council President, and there's a total of $65 million investment in over 200 units of housing. This is going to greatly increase the quality of life for a lot of people in the city of Minneapolis and in the public housing system. Thank you.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to pull out, I believe, item number 14 for additional discussion. It's the cannabis zoning text amendment.
Okay.
I'm supposed to do that.
Councilmember Chowdhury has pulled item 14. Is there any discussion on the remainder of the report? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the full report minus items 2 and 14.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Koski.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Cashman.
Aye.
Is here. Great. Osman.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Chavez.
Ghost.
Aye. Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries and those items are adopted. Next, we will take up item number 2, and I will call on Councilmember Ellison.
Thank you. Item number 2 is the passage of an ordinance approving a right of first refusal to the sale of affordable housing. We've been calling it the Affordable Housing Preservation Ordinance, and it's an ordinance that my colleagues know well. We've discussed it over the years many times, worked with staff diligently over the years to craft this policy to make sure that its scope is narrow. And I've had a lot of great conversations with community members and with my colleagues about this ordinance, primarily having to debunk misinformation, and so we'll see if we have to do that again today. But I move approval of this ordinance. I'm happy to answer questions, but because we've had such lengthy discussions, outside of council, I'm also happy to just move forward with the roll call if the body wants to spare us a long discussion. I'm sure we have long discussions elsewhere on the agenda.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a tough one for me because I see the issue from both sides. We have a crisis with lack of affordable housing in Minneapolis, and anything we can do to maintain our existing affordable housing stock is precious. In Southwest Minneapolis, time after time, I see naturally occurring affordable housing torn down to put up extremely expensive single-family homes and high-end rentals. All that does is make living in Southwest Minneapolis more unattainable for people earning less than an average median income, even 100% of an average median income. Some of that housing is not rental to begin with, so I understand it would not apply to this ordinance, but we are losing the little bit of affordable rental properties that we have. I need every part of the city. I'm pausing for. We need every part of the city to be open to residents for all income levels, and not just properties through our public housing authority or other heavy subsidies. But I am, on the other hand, I'm concerned about a couple of unintended consequences this ordinance may bring. And I have had this conversation with Councilmember Ellison, and I appreciate the conversation that we had. Here are my concerns. How can first-time home buyers or first-time investors compete with these qualified organizations? This ordinance applies to 1 to 4 unit rentals, which are where first-timers would almost always enter the market. Qualified organizations are going to get a first crack at available properties, making it even harder for a first-time buyer to find a quality property. And this ordinance will add at least 1 month to the timeline to selling a property. And I don't see any accommodation made for a property owner who has liquidity needs and just can't wait that additional month to sell their property. They need their funds now for one reason or other. So I am listening to this discussion to help inform my vote, but I just wanted to acknowledge that I'm torn. Thank you.
And I am conferring with the clerk right now. I think it may be appropriate for us to take another 5-minute recess or so and let things settle down in the overflow area. There's a little bit of a dispute about what space is available in the chambers, and I think if we can let some de-escalation happen, we can get back to the business of the meeting. Tech team, we're ready. All right, we have returned from recess. Apologies for that. I'm actually going to recognize Councilmember Palmisano just to wrap up some of her comments because they got a little bit disrupted previously.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just briefly, I was speaking a little bit about how this particular one, the Affordable Housing Protection Ordinance, is challenging for me. I see it both ways. On one hand, we have a crisis with a lack of affordable housing anywhere for any reason. You know, time after time, I see naturally affordable housing removed from our city and instead very expensive housing put in its place. Some of that housing is not rental to begin with. So just to be clear, that's not part of this ordinance. But we're losing the little bit of affordable renting that we have in Southwest Minneapolis. And we need to be open to residents of all income levels to call home all across the city. So I am concerned about a couple of unintended consequences of this ordinance, and that is about how first-time home buyers and first-time investors can compete with the qualified organizations. This ordinance applies to 1 to 4 unit rentals, which are where first-timers would almost always enter this marketplace. Qualified organizations are going to get the first crack at available properties, making it even harder for a first-time buyer to purchase an affordable rental property. And this ordinance will absolutely add at least 1 month to the timeline of selling a property. And I don't see any accommodations being made for somebody who has liquidity needs and for whatever reason can't wait that additional month but needs the funds now. So I'm listening to this discussion to help inform my vote, and I believe Councilmember Ellison would like to address them at some point. Thank you.
Councilmember Ellison, did you want to address some of those?
Yeah, would love to address those. Thank you for the conversation, Councilmember Palmisano. And I wanted to, talk about the ordinance. And if staff is here or around, they're welcome to make their way down. I don't want to misrepresent the ordinance, but I feel like I can pretty confidently say the least that this will delay. I want to talk about the 1 month. The minimum amount of time this ordinance could delay a sale is 7 days, not 1 month. It would potentially delay a sale by 1 month if a sale occurred, in which case the ordinance has been executed as written. But if a sale doesn't occur, or if the interest isn't there in the unit, the only delay is 7 days. And so I want to make sure that we understand that we understand the scope of the ordinance, and I see the rationale behind sort of adding up all the various ways in which it can get held up and say, okay, well, this looks like it's going to get held up 1 month. But I also want to make sure that we're representing what's actually written in the ordinance, which is that it would be held up a minimum of 7 days, and 1 month if a sale occurred. The other thing is that I wanted to say is that I know that there has been a perception that qualified organizations would end up being nonprofit organizations, and from my analysis of all the discussion that we've had on this, I actually don't think that will necessarily be true. And I definitely don't think it'll be the major nonprofit organizations that fund affordable housing. I think you're going to see small developers, local developers who are building their portfolios, who we do hold up as models of who we want to be owning our housing stock, are going to be the ones who end up becoming qualified organizations. Right now, those folks are being outcompeted by the likes of Front Yard Residential. I know that BlackRock doesn't operate that much in Minneapolis, but these are the types of investment firms that are buying up single-family homes and duplexes all across the country, and it's having a disparate impact on our markets, on who's able to get into the housing stock that's available. If anything, I think the QO process opens up opportunity for small developers, local developers, to be the ones who are better positioned to preserve the units in an affordable way. And so those are the two things. Did I miss one thing one question that you wanted me to address? I'm working from memory here.
Councilmember Palmisano.
You did. I said at least 1 month. You said 7 days. Is that assuming that somebody is selling to a qualified organization?
Councilmember Ellison.
if someone's selling to a qualified organization, then yes, that buffer period is 1 month. If a qualified organization isn't interested or retracts their letter of interest, then 7 days. That'll be the delay.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, the other point was, could a first-time home buyer become a qualified organization is essentially where this conversation is going.
Councilmember Ellison. Yeah, thank you. So in the ordinance, and this was an amendment, we built in 2 ways that well, first, one of the analyses that we got into with staff and as we were doing our outreach was that first-time home buyers, and I'm just talking pure data. I'm not talking about individuals, individual stories, but as a matter of habit or rule, first-time home buyers, when they're going to buy a home, it's usually not going to be like to own and occupy. They usually don't end up looking at rental units, formerly rental units, to go and own and occupy. And so that's just a habit that we observed, right? The second thing that I think is really important is that in the ordinance, if a tenant, if a landlord is selling to the current tenant of that home, this ordinance doesn't touch that. We don't want to get in the way of that relationship. If a QO is looking to capture the affordability of a home, this is a third thing within the ordinance, but ultimately wants to repair it and then sell it for owner occupancy, they can execute that if they're willing to sell at 80% of AMI or below, because we still want to be able to maintain that affordability even in the home ownership. And so, these aren't all, I can't take credit for all of these ideas. Worked with staff for a long time. Our professional staff really dug into this policy with me, and I don't want to understate just how much they worked with me and they worked with community members to really think of everything for this ordinance.
Thank you.
Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilmember Ellison, for the explanation. And I know how hard you've worked on this, and my comments are a little different. I have a little different viewpoint in listening to my constituents and what, excuse me, it's been a long day so far. And what I'm hearing is that this is going to throw our housing market out of balance. It really does nothing to prevent out-of-state investors from buying these properties. It's just going to make the selling costs higher. You talked about some of these big investment companies. They're going to have the money to pay that extra fee because they're going to get, in the long run, they'll get it back because of the housing shortage will continue. So I do not believe this will increase our housing supply for affordable ownership. I just think it's going to drive, and not just me thinking this, it's the feedback I'm getting from Ward 3 residents, that it's going to drive investment away from Minneapolis, and we're going to be out of balance like the St. Paul housing market is now. And to your point, my observation about rental properties going to home ownership, I've seen that happen a lot in St. Anthony West, St. Anthony East, Sheridan neighborhoods. We have young people coming in, buying rental homes and living in them. So to me, that's part of the comeback of Northeast Minneapolis. The strength is that these rental properties have become home ownership. So that's, I won't be voting yes on this. I'll be voting no.
And then I want to check in with the body. Normally, council members get 2 opportunities to be in queue, but I'm seeing Councilmember Ellison get a few questions. Are we, without objection, allowing Councilmember Ellison to respond to some of these questions? Mr. Clerk, you got any guidance on that?
Mr. President, I thought you were going to refer to the fact we just cleaned up the speaker queue. Any time that Councilmember Ellison is answering is accredited to the time for a speaker, right? That's how the rules are. So if you are recognized and the timer is on you and you're asking questions of a councilmember, that time counts towards your time.
Okay, gotcha. Councilmember Ellison, would you like to respond?
Thank you, Councilmember Rainville, for allowing me to claim some of your time. So I thank you for the feedback. I just wanted to address one thing. I think that one thing that I think is really important for me to say, just as somebody who's worked on this for a long time, is when you talk about, and I get you're not going to vote for the ordinance, so that's okay. We all got our worldview. We're all allowed our vote here, and I don't begrudge anyone that. But I think it's really important to say that the thing that you're describing with organizations like BlackRock and these investment firms, the markup that they're paying in order to afford these units, the way in which they're first in line to purchase these units at increased prices and pricing out our residents, pricing out prospective QOs, that's happening now. That's happening in this market, right? When you say that that's who's going to be allowed to be a qualified organization, I don't see how that would be true, right? Our staff are going to develop the program manual that lays out exactly who can become a qualified organization, and it's spelled out in the ordinance generally, but it'll be spelled out in detail in the program manual, of which all of our programs have, right? I know we don't write a lot of program manuals from scratch, so we're not as used to that, but we have a lot for how we distribute our LIHTC, how we distribute Affordable Housing Trust Fund. We have a lot of program manuals, and so it's not a cop-out to say we're going to have a program manual development process that's going to lay out in detail exactly who's going to be a QO. Also, CPED staff are going to have the discretion. If somebody violates the intent of this ordinance or the spirit of this ordinance, they can remove them as a QO. And so, again, that's not me sitting here trying to get your vote, but it is me just wanting to lay out a couple of realities, about what this ordinance does and doesn't do. I think it's really important, I'm biased because I'm the author, but I think it's really important that we not mischaracterize the ordinance. And in the example that you lay out, the exact thing that you think the ordinance will do is the exact thing the ordinance will prevent. And I just think it's really important to lay that out and put that on the record for the community.
Thank you. So you're misunderstanding what I said. What I'm saying is, sellers are smart, and they know if they throw an extra $50,000 on the duplex, it will not be a qualified organization. They'll price it so high that only the BlackRocks of the world would buy it. That's what I'm saying.
I hear you.
The market will drive the price up.
Thank you for the clarification. And I guess understanding you better, I will say that is what is happening now. And one thing that is correct is that this ordinance does not compel behavior. If somebody's dead set on gouging the market, gouging a prospective buyer, this ordinance will not prevent them from doing so. What this ordinance does do is provide an opportunity for a buyer and a seller who are both interested in preserving affordable housing. Now, why is that valuable? Because every single year, in this a la carte, one-off ways, a couple dozen units are preserved this way, sort of serendipitously. We're trying to take that serendipity and make it systemic, and make it a matter of how the city does business and how the city values things and values housing locally. But there will be no advantage to BlackRock or whoever coming in at this markup because of this ordinance. There's no more advantage because of this ordinance than there is in the market today.
Councilmember Anvil?
In my last seconds here, again, thank you for your patience with me. I do not agree with everything, and I look forward as the years to come to see who's right and who's wrong. And if you're right, I'll be the first to admit it.
I'm always right. I'm kidding.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you. I've been getting a lot of messaging from community groups, and it's indicating, and I think I've heard the author say this as well, that this is leading towards a tenant opportunity to purchase ordinance. So if that becomes a reality, then what would happen to this ordinance? Because it seems like then it would be competing with this ordinance.
Councilmember Ellison?
Thank you for the question. The original inception of this ordinance was to package them together, right? And the original vision was to have a tenant have the first right, and essentially what we've now put together as a QO to have a second right, right? What we found was that executing TOPA for a myriad of reasons to meet the intent we're trying to meet was logistically difficult. and that the technical difficulty with this ordinance was not as great. But those two ordinances can still be very easily paired together, and as we continue to work on TOPA with staff, with community members, the intent would be to ensure that this ordinance, just as staff is doing with this ordinance, to make sure that it doesn't impede on advance notice. We would work with staff to make sure that a future TOPA ordinance doesn't create a lack of clarity in who has that first opportunity with this ordinance. I think a lot of things are possible with the TOPA policy and how it could be constructed in relation to this ordinance. But again, part of the reason that we're not passing it as a package is because the timeline that we believe a prospective tenant buyer would need is greater than the timeline of the community opportunity to purchase ordinance. The degree to which we think deals would occur is greater, meaning that the amount of staff capacity that we would need to execute a TOPA policy, both on the regulatory services side and on the CPS side, is greater. And I felt like it was important for us to build this infrastructure, build the program manual, execute a few of these deals, and not overburden CPED and reg services with a high capacity that they may not be able to meet, and instead work with staff to say what is a reasonable capacity we think this ordinance could provide. And so, I could talk about what the steps that I think will be needed after this ordinance, although I don't want to get ahead of myself here. We will be discussing those things, but the ordinance itself, a future TOPA policy would be designed explicitly to be a complement to this policy, and not impede on it.
Councilmember Jenkins?
Yeah, thank you for that explanation. I do share some of the concerns listed out by Councilmember Palmisano, particularly the 1 to 4 unit buildings that, are typically owned by smaller landlords, etc., and their abilities to sell if and when an emergency situation comes up, which is a very real scenario, and how these things impact the overall market. So I'm finding it hard to support this ordinance as it is drafted today. Thank you.
I'm seeing no one else left in queue. Oh, Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say a couple of things very quick. There was discussions that we definitely had in committee at length, and I encourage people to go back and watch that conversation. I also took some time to sit down with our housing director and staff to just dive a little bit deeper into asking questions. I think it's really important for us to consider the fact that this program manual is going to be developed, and it's going to inform a lot of the way this ordinance actually impacts residents, how it impacts the market, and it's a place for folks who are concerned, especially those maybe who represent first-time home buyers or home buyers in general, to come to the table and be a part of the conversation. That's something that staff has indicated to me as something that they're very interested in. I also think there's an interesting opportunity here for our city to discuss, what is the parameters of a qualified organization with the intention of localizing and preserving housing, and then also with the goal of encouraging local home ownership. So I think there's a conversation to be had. Is there a possibility in which Minneapolis realtors are a part of being a qualified organization, or there's a system in place that ensures that home buyers in Minneapolis that want to own homes, they're able to, in this conversation about the 1 to 4 units. I think that's still something to see. I know that we as a body also have to take up program funding for this in order for this to happen. And I'll also mention, as things regularly come back to the biz committee on large policies that we've worked on over time as changes are needed based off of what our staff see best fit to meet the conditions of the city and the people that we're trying to serve. And when I think about the 1 to 4 units specifically, I'm thinking about the way in which you have this housing stock being consistently bought up by property owners that could be either absentee or they're trying to make a larger investment. We're seeing that happen in the 12th ward. We're seeing these larger mega homes being built, and this is a way for us to be proactive about addressing that concern that has shown up for our constituents over and over again. So it's also to say there's more of the baking to be done, and this is the first step in order for our staff to start doing that work, to continue to do stakeholder engagement and think about how this ordinance can best show up for us.
Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. Before I speak on this a little bit, I do want to ask Councilmember Ellison if you can just speak to the timeline here on implementation and program development as far as you understand it.
Councilmember Ellison.
Thank you for the question. So the implementation as written is for us to begin implementing this policy 6 months after the program manual is developed. I believe it'll take 6 months to develop the program manual. And so that's it, hopefully we can move faster on that timeline. Again, this is something that I've worked closely with staff on, and they seem motivated to enact this ordinance. And so, which is not me saying that they, staff is neutral on all of our ordinances, and they recommend things that they bring forward, but the collaboration is there and strong there, and so we're talking about a period of time in which we're talking about a period of time in which there will be another community process to develop the program manual similar to the one that we did to develop the ordinance. Hopefully not 6 years long, and then there will be, and then we will begin enacting the policy 6 months after that.
Okay, thank you. And one more question for the author. Is the kind of the threshold for the properties that qualify for this ordinance is affordability, right? And how is the valuation done? I was just trying to figure out if it's like assessed value or tax evaluation that does create that threshold.
Councilmember Ellison.
Yeah, there's a guideline. There's HUD guidelines for assessed values that maintain certain levels of affordability, and so that changes, which is why I didn't want to put it in ordinance. That's why I would go in the program manual, so that as the numbers change, the program manual can be modified a little bit quicker than an ordinance can. But those HUD guidelines would be followed in order to maintain affordability and decide, year in, year out, what prices a fourplex need to sell for in order to maintain a certain level of affordability, what prices a single-family home need to sell for in order to maintain a certain level of affordability.
Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you. I spoke about this in committee as well, but I actually live in a fourplex rental unit that I consider to be naturally occurring affordable housing. But even so, the listing price on my building, which has been up for sale for like over a year, is super high and nobody's able to buy it. And part of the problem in our market is that there's just such competition that people are inflating the asking price of many of our rental buildings. And just learning about this policy over the last few weeks, and I totally understand Councilmember Palmisano and Councilmember Rainville and Councilmember Jenkins' concerns about some of the impacts to other aspects of our market, but I do think that this is a policy that's trying to get at the issue of maintaining rental affordable housing with sort of a scalpel. And so there's a very limited scope to the buildings that actually will be impacted by this policy. And thinking about Ward 7, we don't actually have a lot of affordable single-family rentals. And as far as affordable rental buildings, there's just not that many buildings that apply for this within even my ward. So I'm looking at how can, this policy really impact the wards of the authors, and that you're looking at how this impacts your ward primarily. I think it's pretty targeted. There are still some parts of Ward 7 that have been very impacted by out-of-state, negligent building owners, some companies like Greystar and Level 10 that are impossible to get in touch with, impossible to hold accountable to creating a quality of life for their renters. And that's something that I'm very afraid of us having continue in our city. So I think that this policy will help with that so that we can have more local, more nonprofit, smaller developers buying and managing our rental properties. So yeah, I just think that as we are trying to attract investment and people to our city, right? We've had such a conversation this week about our school system trying to drive enrollment. How are we creating the incentives for people to move to Minneapolis? The availability and accessibility of affordable housing is how we attract people, not just working aged, 30 plus folks, but also families. Like, how are we attracting families to live in Minneapolis? And I think that creating more affordable housing options and maintaining affordable housing options like through this policy will help us with that. So I'm going to be supporting the ordinance today.
Vice President Chuck Tai.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to add a few things to the discussion here before we wrap up. First, wanted to thank staff in CPED and in regulatory services that have worked really closely with Councilmember Ellison and myself this term. I know this is a policy that staff worked on also throughout the entirety of the last term, and it was in fact a holdover from the term before that. So this policy has been a long time in the making. I know something that staff has worked on really thoroughly, and excited to see it come to this body for approval. I wanted to, I know there was a pretty lengthy discussion in committee on this, but just a couple of things I wanted to bring back up as we are considering this as a body. First to really understand how this policy learns from others that have been approved and implemented in different parts of the country. So this policy is actually closest to one that was approved in San Francisco back in 2019. And there's certainly a lot that can be said about the housing market in San Francisco, affordability in San Francisco. But as of last year, 3 years or almost 4 years into implementation, they were able to preserve about 300 units of affordable housing in their city. So this is something that can work in our city too, in helping preserve our affordable housing stock. And then, I think that a few of the concerns that I have heard, particularly from folks within the community, is both on is this supposed to replace TOPA? And what this is doing is something completely different. And so just concerns around folks who really want to see a TOPA policy happen here in Minneapolis, not seeing that reflected in this policy. And so want to just reiterate this is not a tenant opportunity to purchase policy. This is doing something completely different. And I think that same type of concern comes from those who don't want to see a tenant opportunity to purchase policy happen here and see this as sort of like a TOPA light or a step in the direction of that policy. And so as we're considering this in front of us today, I think it's important to remember that tenant opportunity to purchase, or TOPA, has been under consideration here at the city since September 2019. That's what's published on the city website. And here we are over 5 years later, and we are not. That's not the policy we're considering. It will probably be a while before that's something that is ready and ready to be implemented at the staff level. So just wanting to make sure that we are not conflating these two policies with one another, as they are very different from one another, and really seeing this as something that, while can be complementary to a tenant opportunity to purchase policy years down the road, is not what we're considering here today. Thank you.
Councilmember Ellison.
Just wanted to make one last closing remark. I concur with everything that my co-author has said, but I want to make one important remark, which is that the difference between TOPA and COPA is the intended outcome, right? One is around preservation of affordable housing. One is around tenant ownership. But the building blocks of both policies are very similar. I almost hesitate to say the same. The way the deals are executed, the way that the policy is executed. That is why I believe that these two policies can be stacked right on top of each other and flow seamlessly together, as was the intent of the original authors, of which I was a part of, and is a future intent that I still hold and that I know my co-author still holds. And so I just wanted to make that really distinct and clear as to why I believe that this is a step, why this is an important step, why this is an important need on its own merit, and we've seen it work in other cities to preserve affordable housing in our city. So that's all. Otherwise, happy to vote. Thank you guys for all of the discussion. Really appreciate all my colleagues.
Vice President Chagtai.
I'm so sorry. I wanted to let Councilmember Ellison have the last word, but there's a minor clerical error, and I need to formally be added as a co-author on this policy.
Second.
Great.
Do we need to take a vote on that, Mr. Clerk? No, I don't think so. Okay, seeing no one else in queue, let's call the roll on item number 2.
Councilmember Vitaw.
No.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Nay.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Nay.
Councilmember Rainville.
Nay.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 9 ayes and 4 nays.
That carries, and that item is adopted. Next, we will take up item number 14 on the biz agenda, and I will call on Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Members, before you, you'll see that I, alongside Councilmember Koski, are motioning to remove the 300 feet distance between dispensaries requirement and the cannabis zoning text amendment. Just a couple things that I want to mention in regards to why we're bringing this forward. Some background: social equity applicants are determined by the state level, and they're essentially applicants that have been pre-approved to get the first look at sites for dispensaries, the first to receive a license, and the Minnesota Office of Cannabis Management will prioritize giving social equity applicants technical assistance, capital loans, workforce development training, essentially getting a first bite at the cannabis apple. This change ensures that the existing local hemp realtors that we may know within our communities who desire to be a cannabis dispensary will be protected in the future to do so by ensuring that should a cannabis realtor who gets that first bite at the apple, the licensing before them, and they decide to move nearby, maybe they're within 200 feet, it does not force them to give up on their local dispensary aspirations. This is both about ensuring that local realtors in the city of Minneapolis are successful, really focusing on the local aspect, and also making sure that we're promoting them over multi-state large corporate companies. We have seen that in other cities. I'll also note for folks that are concerned about congregation of dispensaries, I'll say that there are already built-in buffers into this ordinance, including the 300 feet buffer from K through 12 schools. We also change the acreage requirement from 5 acres to 3 acres, so there were more opportunities for retailers, to avoid cannabis hot zones, and there's already a limiting on natural buffers, such as finding available brick and mortar buildings willing to sell or lease to a business owner who wants to open up a shop for this kind of use. and natural competition takes place within the market. So this is a clear solution to a real issue that we see and we can get ahead of. And finally, I'll just note that this brings us in line with our city across the river, St. Paul. They also have no buffer between dispensaries. And with that, I will stand for questions and discussion.
Councilmember Chowdhury has moved to amend item number 14. It's co-authored by Councilmember Koski, so it doesn't need a proper second. Is there any discussion on that amendment? I'll recognize Councilmember Osman.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, this is really a big thing to celebrate. The cannabis work has been going on in the city. And I want to thank the staff who has put so much time talking to the community, trying to find a perfect balance for getting ready for this state law that was passed, that the state of Minnesota, that people can have a, sell cannabis. So as mentioned, social equity applicant, there's a reason that the state has categorized that and really put it forward, because there has been historical harm for communities of color and other communities also who has been jailed for small marijuana and this is something that they have put forward, and I'm super excited that we're bringing this forward and setting up the ordinance in the code, but also there has been so much work that went through this. It went through the Planning Commission. There we have received many comments, and in the beginning, I did not support removing the spacing because I felt like spacing will definitely help the social equity applicants for them to have the first step to have the opportunity. But now, after talking to the staff and talking to some of the council members, we also want to really recognize some of the businesses, local businesses that has spent so much time on themselves advocating for this law to pass. And this is the perfect balance that we can come up with. We can always go back and amend the ordinance and create the distance with dispensaries. But this is just the first try we're going to do, and I think this is perfect. The process it went through and how much work that went behind it. So this is huge to celebrate, and I definitely support and excited for City of Minneapolis to have cannabis retails. So yeah, super glad. So thank you.
Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne, and thank you, Councilmember Chowdhury and Councilmember Koski, for bringing this forward today. One thing I've really been considering here is that we should not be more restrictive with cannabis than we are with tobacco and liquor stores. That being said, you'll see later on the agenda today, I'm giving notice to introduce a spacing requirement for tobacco stores from schools in the downtown area that I represent, specifically in Loring Park. We really struggle with a high concentration of tobacco and liquor stores. And so introducing a spacing requirement for tobacco stores from schools should help with some of that. And I hope to have your support bringing that forward later this year or early next year. And I also did a lot of research with staff and specifically with Meg McMahon and Sarah Roman from CPED looking at the distances of the various commercial properties to other schools in Ward 7. And I think that the proposal that the Planning Commission came to that we're considering here today is a good proposal. And I fully support also removing the spacing requirement between dispensaries because as I talked to small business owners this week, they kind of want us to get out of their way. And I think that's fair. And they want the existing hemp retailers in the city, which there are over 500, which is crazy. They want to get a bite of the cannabis apple, right? And they should, and to kind of prevent those out-of-state providers from kind of gobbling up the existing spaces. So, and this will help fill vacant storefronts in our city, and I know that's a shared goal amongst many of us. So that's all I wanted to say on this.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Mr. Chair, are we discussing the amendment or the full motion, the full ordinance right now?
I think we can take up both.
Okay. My comments are more about the amendment sent out late last night from council members Chowdhury and Koski. I think I understand the thought behind removing a distance requirement between dispensaries. It helps everybody have the opportunity to apply for a license eventually and to become a dispensary and stay in the same location, regardless of if other applicants come in, maybe before them, maybe before they get a license. I've had a couple conversations with staff, thanks to Committee Chair Osman. He helped to set them up and participated in them, and even more conversations as of late last night and this morning from our small business team. Do we have an obligation to try and protect existing businesses against future businesses here? I'm not sure that's the job of a city, and I think the city attorney finds that to be problematic. I do think the city owes it to existing businesses that have gone in and created relationships with the community to not pass policy that creates a mechanism for anti-competitive behavior. I guess getting rid of the distance requirement all over the place achieves that, but we've never done this before. Everyone in the state is new at this, and I'm not so sure that St. Paul is the best model for us. And I guess I'm a little more skeptical of opening up all of the zoning that this does for new cannabis permissions than others right away at the very beginning. I appreciated staff's very cautious and considered recommendations after talking to existing hemp stores around the city. I support the 3-acre continuous ability to come out further. I think that allows for smaller stores, for more local ownership, some of it where it is today. There's a lot of benefits to the 3 continuous acres instead of 5. But there are trade-offs involving the removing of retail to retail spacing to consider. The staff report says there's potential benefits to having spacing in place for this use, in particular, avoiding clustering of dispensaries that would then hurt other dispensaries around the city, just competitively. But is there an alternative policy option that we could figure out here that could help achieve both of these things? I think that just taking away all the spacing requirements is a real blunt, no pun intended, it's a very blunt use of our zoning policy, and we have a great responsibility here to wade into this cautiously, because we will never be able to go backwards and unzone some of these places. So that's my first consideration, is this really the best option, is to just take out all the spacing requirements altogether? But secondly, what I really don't understand is the decrease in required distance from a school. And I don't know if this is for staff or for the author, but can somebody explain to me more about the required distance from schools and dispensaries? I think it started at 350 feet, then it went to 500 feet, and now it's at 300 feet. So is this meant to be consistent with things like liquor store regulations? I would like to see us respect the wishes of Minneapolis Public Schools and make sure that our children have a buffer.
Councilmember Chowdhury, did you want to speak to that?
I do, and thank you, Councilmember Palmisano, for asking that question. We had iterative discussions both on the Planning Commission and the Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee. The first point that I will make is for me, especially thinking about the legacy of criminalizing cannabis and how legalization is a part of remedying that harmful legacy, specifically to people who are incarcerated for low-level drug crimes and the way that cannabis has been perceived in our country, having a higher restriction on spacing from schools, from liquor stores, felt a way of saying one is more moral than the other, and that was something that was discussed in Planning Commission. So liquor store spacing is 300 feet, so that's a part of the consideration. When it comes to schools, we know that there is a desire for some sort of spacing. That's a part of the conversation. I will say that Minneapolis Public Schools later on did come back to me and our city staff and say, we are not taking a formal position on spacing. We want to leave it up to the city of Minneapolis to decide that zoning. There was one member on the planning commission who is a Minneapolis school board member that gave out that number, but in later conversations, they were just like, that's kind of just something that sounded good to me. There's also discussion we had with staff in public, say, asking the question, is there any data to back up that these buffers between schools prevent youth access or prevent consumption in and around schools? And there was no conclusive data that our staff could point to, and that was something that they mentioned. So I think this 300 feet buffer being in line with liquor is good, and I think it also just a very important conversation was brought up in Planning Commission too, and I think Councilmember Cashman kind of pointed towards it, is that we have no buffer for tobacco stores presently when it comes to schools. And we should talk about that because we are seeing high usage of tobacco or vape products by young people as young as like 10 or 11. Whereas with cannabis, if we're thinking about addressing youth access or access in general, the place where we can actually do that, because you're correct, zoning is a very blunt tool, pun intended. The place where we can do that work is in rulemaking at the state level, and we have opportunities as a city to engage there. We have a representative on the state-created council through the League of Minnesota Cities that we can speak with, but I think we should be an active voice in that conversation. They'll make the decisions about securing product, secure vestibule, requiring IDing, and I also appreciate that in this ordinance there's a requirement that prohibits outward advertising of cannabis products, which I think is a huge step, especially in comparison to tobacco and liquor.
That's time, but I wanted to just check in with Councilmember Palmisano. Did you have other questions?
I just want to make one short point, and it's that this would put Minneapolis in the lowest buffer zone of comparable jurisdictions, not St. Paul. But in the staff report, it talks about how Seattle, Washington has 1,000 feet. That's required by state law. San Francisco has 600 feet. Denver has 1,000 feet, and Chicago has 500. I'm not interested in just doing what St. Paul does, but I did want to express my sincere gratitude to Councilmember Chowdhury for being part of the Planning Commission conversations and the conversations in committee. Thank you.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne, and I am in support of this ordinance. I think that these cannabis shops should be like cannabis shops in other communities where there is security, there is ID checks, there are you can't just walk in and be a consumer. And I also want to know who is growing these cannabis apples and where are they available at. Thank you.
Councilmember Vita.
Thank you, Chair. I have some concerns about the amendment, and only because we just got it last night. I really wish we had more time to look through this as somebody that's worked a lot on tobacco restrictions. I have way more questions. I think it was Councilmember Chowdhury who said it. We don't have buffer zones on tobacco here, so that's a different conversation than like what this. For me, it's a different conversation than what is being brought forward, and to just open the ordinance all the way up and just to say we'll work from there feels a little. It just doesn't feel right to me on someone who's worked to restrict the sales of tobacco products and knowing that like kids walk out of the school and the store is there, but that's the way Minneapolis is designed. It's not like we can go back. I've literally drove people around the city to explain to them why it's different than Chicago. It has nothing to do with it's not just about this concentration of stores. It's how Minneapolis is designed. It's where stores are in our community, where parks are, where children are just present in the design of our city. And so this to get this yesterday feels very rushed. I'm not against it, but I don't feel ready for it. I'd like to understand more the goal here and like what the plan would be for what seems like it would be working backwards if we just open it up. And so I'm just concerned about like just having this information and having to make a decision about it now.
Councilmember Osmond.
Thank you. I think the questions that are being raised are right, and Councilmember Palmisano question about is there an alternative way? I think as someone who has worked closely with this staff, we had so many discussions on this and talked to the city attorney and how can we advance what the state goal is, which is social equity, to make sure those folks are being, the requirement of them having the first step in for these businesses and thinking about the economic way of benefits for these folks at the same time respecting the local businesses. I was not for removing this basin, as I say, but as we have tried so many different ways and so many discussion, this was probably the most right way to go, I would say, because we can always go back if we see problems that are rising. We can always go back and amend and put the spacing there. So right now, it's the first policies that we're making. We can always amend and come back and make it correction. And this was the alternative way of moving forward. So just want to say those questions are legitimate, and I appreciate everyone's input and definitely the staff work on this. So thank you.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to make my closing comments on it. First of all, just major thank you to the CPED staff, Director McMahon and Sarah Roman in particular, for all of their work leading up to this portion at the City Council, and for all of the discussion that they had with me, with Councilmember Osmond. I also want to just thank all of the advocates who have spent so much time advocating for legalization. Some of those folks are our current local low potency hemp retailers. So I see you, I appreciate you. And I'll also just say, like, we kind of went back and forth on what are different policy options when it came to this amendment. In consultation with our city attorneys, this is the most lawful. We had conversations about doing kind of like a limited legacy buffer type of situation, but that was not a legally defensible way for us to go forward. And I think this is a strong path. We were also looking into considerations of time limiting the buffer, but a lot of things currently at the state level hang in the balance, right? Licenses for the social equity applicants aren't going to be coming until December 2025. We are not super clear on when general applicants will be able to apply. So determining a timeline on that is difficult. The state is also discussing capping licenses. So that will factor into timing. And so we couldn't put a time on when the buffer would start, but I agree with Councilmember Osmond. We can always go back and consider how things are moving. I think we should look at this as fluid, as a lot is going to change in the city of Minnesota, or city of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota. And yeah, I'm excited to call the roll on this one. It was a real joint effort, and I can't wait to dispense of this item.
Councilmember Palmisano.
I seem to have started a trajectory here today. I am deeply committed to the social equity of this, but I'm also committed to safety. The use standards and zoning regulations proposed within the text amendment, including spacing requirements for cannabis retailers, were designed to ensure that businesses don't negatively impact their surrounding neighbors or create nuisances. At the end of the day, I'm here for how these things impact community, and I appreciate the intent behind this, but I am no longer ready to support this with the last-minute amendment to remove all the spacing today. We'll see what that brings us. We will not be able to walk back that change. I think this was an opportunity to move more carefully into this space, and I was looking forward to supporting that today, but now I cannot. Thank you.
Councilmember Koski.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to speak mostly to the amendment and also thank staff for all their hard work and for the committee work on this and through the Planning Commission and also to my colleague, Councilor Chowdhury. We both were thinking the same thing and then came to kind of butting heads together in a good way to collaborate on this. And, you know, both of us have a big heart for our small businesses, and I have several of businesses that could be affected by what's going to be happening through state licensure process and what we do here at the city. And so this amendment, you know, it's good for small businesses who, you know, they have the good faith interest in becoming a dispensary. And it's been clear that there are many applicants coming to the state licensing process that are out-of-state organizations. And so for me, this prioritizes both the interests of our equity applicants and our local small businesses. And I'm grateful for the collaboration we've been able to do on this. Thank you.
Did anybody else want to pipe in? Okay, let's take the vote on the amendment separate from the underlying ordinance. So will the clerk call the roll on the Chowdhury and Koski amendment?
Councilmember Vita.
No.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
No.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osmond.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
No.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes and 3 nays.
That carries and that amendment is adopted. Next, we will take up the underlying ordinance as amended. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
No.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osmond.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes and 1 nay.
That carries and that item is adopted, and therefore the full report is adopted. The next report is from our Climate and Infrastructure Committee, which will be presented by that committee's chair, Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Climate and Infrastructure Committee is bringing forward 7 items. Item number 1 is adopting assessments for sidewalk repair and construction for 2023. Item 2 is approving appropriation and revenue for the 5th Street Transit Center. Item 3 is approving appointments to the Bicycle Advisory Committee. Item 4 is accepting a local road improvement program grant from the Minnesota Department of Transportation for the construction of ADA ramps in the Fulton residential project. Item 5 is authorizing a last written offer for parcels related to the new Nicollet construction. Item 6 is levying various Public Works Department special assessments and adopting the assessment rolls. And item 7 is the passage of a resolution calling for the closure of the Hennepin Energy Recovery Center, otherwise known as Herk, and I'll move approval of these items.
Councilmember Cashman has moved approval of the report. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Council President Payne. I would like to remove item number 7 for a separate vote in discussion.
Councilmember Wansley has moved to take up item number 7 for a separate vote and discussion. Is there any discussion on items 1 through 6? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osmond.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries and those items are adopted. Next, we will take up item number 7, and I will call on Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Council President Payne. I just want to offer a few comments on item number 7, the Herk closure resolution. We're very aware that in the last few years, residents have made it clear that they expect the city to actually deliver on our stated commitments to sustainability, which means taking bold and sometimes unprecedented action. That has looked like making good on land back and community ownership at the East Phillips Urban Farm. It has looked like passing carbon fees to begin charging polluters for the cost of carbon emissions. Now it looks like working with the county to close the Herk incinerator, radically reducing our city's trash output and transforming our waste disposal system. This is what it looks like for the city to make good on our goals to reduce greenhouse gases and move towards a clean energy and zero waste future. Communities surrounding the Herk have faced disproportionate health impacts for decades now, and this has meant higher rates of asthma, heart disease, and even cancer. So closing the Herk marks the beginning of hopefully reversing some of these health disparities that we know have disproportionately impacted our Black and Brown communities. So this resolution sets the city's official policy stance as being one of support for the closing of the Herk incinerator by 2027. But we also know that it's going to take a sustained mass movement building effort by residents, many of whom are here right now today and have been part of this fight for many, many years. It's going to take building that movement alongside you all and combining that with robust waste reduction programs here at the city level to make that closure by 2027 a reality. And I look forward to working with residents. I look forward to working with my colleagues as well as city staff and other elected officials at the county and state level to make sure that we're able to actualize that closure of the Herk incinerator by 2027. And I just want to also thank my co-authors as well.
Councilmember Osman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, volunteers, for really coming out and speaking out for Herk closure resolution. We have heard Hennepin County, who came here to give us a presentation. I just want to let you know we are committed. I'm committed for this closure. Herk is located near communities with over 230,000 residents, primarily low-income and PIPAC individuals, highlighting the need to address the environmental racism and health disparities caused by pollution. Herk contributes to serious health issues, including increased rates of asthma, heart disease, and other respiratory problems, particularly among vulnerable population. The resolution supports a permanent closure of Herk by December 31st, 2027. This underscores the importance of transitioning to more sustainable waste management practices while addressing historical injustices and health impacts on vulnerable communities. City of Minneapolis is committed for supporting Hennepin County to close. So it's time for us. I know the Hennepin County has come and say, well, city has to take the first step. Well, we are ready to work with you. We want you with the plan, keep up your resolution and your promises that you have committed to the residents. We got to move forward, and it's time for Herk to be closed 2027. Thank you.
Councilmember Ellison.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to thank all of the neighbors, all the residents who have come out to speak about Herk over the years. I know that this conversation has been going on maybe 20 years, maybe longer, about the need for this to shut down, about the ways in which we've got North Minneapolis is overburdened with low air quality, and not just North Minneapolis, but the Herk does impact North Minneapolis, and I think that it's really important to know that the environmental justice movement that has really been fighting to shut down things like Northern Metals, to shut down the Herk, that fight has really been led by the people most affected right? And so that when we think about our environmental justice movement, we have to think about those most affected and recognize that they're the ones who have put in the work for all this time. And so thank you for all the folks who are here today, who have pushed us, who have pushed the county, and so as Councilmember Osmond said, this is usually one of those moments in which government entities just point fingers at each other, blame, and we don't get anything done, right? This resolution is saying that we're going to be partners with you, that we have a commitment to zero waste, that we want to make sure that we are not piling on all of the detrimental impacts of low air quality, low soil quality, onto our on our poorest residents. And so, just wanted to thank my colleagues for leading on this. I know that the zero waste conversations kind of stalled a little bit after COVID. I know a lot of things in the city did, but reviving that conversation and making sure that we can shut the Herk down, critically important. So, thank you to the committee, which I'm not a part of, but also thank you to the authors of this.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. Wow, it's fitting that I am speaking after Councilmember Ellison. You know, I started working with EJAM, Environmental Justice Advocates of Minnesota, about 20 plus years ago with then Representative Ellison, State Representative Ellison, and many, many, many community members. And so it is exciting to see that this sustained effort is coming to fruition today. But I gotta say that this is the beginning. Because the government, we can't change this. You have to change this. We are a society that produces so much trash every single day. And we are all culpable and engaged in that process. And so we're going to have to, this zero waste conversation, it's incumbent on all of us to make sure, because we have to put this trash somewhere. And where it's going to go really matters. Landfills are not sustainable. Incinerators do create more energy, but where will they be? And so this is the beginning of a lot of hard work that we are going to have to face and step up to the challenge of creating a sustainable, clean air future for ourselves and for our children and grandchildren to come. So I'm glad this is being offered today. Thank you to the authors, and I'm happy to support it, but I want to emphasize that this is the beginning of a process. It is not the end. Thank you.
Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. Absolutely agree that this is just the beginning, but this movement has been going on for a long time since community members resisted the creation of, or the siting of the Herk at that facility, even back in the 80s. And so the calls for stop overburdening the community near this facility have been happening for a long time, and that's what we're responding to today. I think our zero waste future is not just about where our trash goes, but also about creating an economy that brings us back into harmony with nature, and where we don't just have so many throwaway items and materials that we don't know where they came from and we don't know where they're going. I want to thank the Hennepin County Board of Commissioners for laying the groundwork for a Herk shutdown. This is not a city-owned facility, but as the large majority of what's burned at the Herk comes from the city of Minneapolis residents and businesses, that's why it's so important for us to take action on zero waste. And I'll just name a few of the actions that we can take after the passage of this resolution. elevating the voices of residents who've experienced the most environmental and economic injustice, bringing the solid waste labor force currently employed at and connected to the Herk into a greener economy, supporting our homegrown initiatives so we can ramp up the local ability to grow food and waste less, support our solid waste and management division with funding and programming and education resources so that they can promote and expand the services that we do have to more people in the city, including in the commercial, industrial, and multifamily sectors. Some things just in that programming include expanding composting access to multifamily buildings, data sharing in coordination with private haulers, more reuse and exchange sites for businesses. Next, inviting our own community members to be the experts in local neighborhood level waste management through pilot programs that we'll be funding next year if that budget line passes. And finally, taking this upstream to the statewide level for statewide legislative changes around packaging, what's allowable at landfills, and how our solid waste system is governed. So we're up for the challenge. I'm thankful for all the co-authors on this resolution, and most of all to the community for your action.
Councilmember Chowdhury. Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll keep my remarks brief. Councilmember Cashman, you did just such an excellent job of laying out what is the charge. Minneapolis today is formally entering into the conversation and saying this is the position we're taking. We want to see an end to the incineration. We want to get to zero waste in the city of Minneapolis. We want it to happen throughout the entire state and throughout the entire nation, right? It's big systemic change that we're after, and us putting forward a bold timeline and a bold resolution is setting us up to have the urgency that we need to get government across the board, state, federal, county, city, to work together to achieve this. The state of Minnesota right now in the national media is getting so much attention and credit for doing things as firsts and making deep systemic change, and this is an area where I believe that we can continue that legacy and lead. I just want to say thank you so much to the community members in this space that are showing up, that showed up to every committee meeting, that did multiple meetings with council members, county commissioners, and the community that isn't here in the chamber today, that have laid the foundational work for us to get to this moment. This is about many different things. It's about racial justice, environmental justice, keeping up our commitment to addressing climate change boldly and quickly and with urgency, and also making sure that elected officials use their voice and their leadership to make change as representatives of our city. And I'll echo the call that many council members set up here. We're going to need to rely on the community to make this possible. We need community members to organize on the ground to make zero waste happen, right? There's a huge gap around education and access. We're going to need to rely on our neighbors to do that. And then as far as government institutions, we really got to get the commercial industry and the industrial industry regulated, because right now they're not meeting the charge of what they're tasked to do in terms of reporting. And that was something that was brought up in committee. So super excited to support this, super excited to begin this next chapter of work.
Vice President Chugtai.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wanted to first start with thanking the very large community of environmental justice advocates and activists that exist within our city that have been advocating for this, working on this issue for years and years now. This is a really big deal, and you know the amount of work that you have all done at the state, county, and city level to make Herk closure a reality. And this is, you know, one piece of the puzzle, one small step along the way. Is just deeply appreciated. It's tremendous. It's necessary, and is going to be transformative for the communities that are overburdened by the pollution created by burning trash at this site. Wanted to also thank Council Member Cashman for your leadership on this resolution, along with the other authors. As you were laying out, and as the resolution discusses as well, what's next here for our city. I know something I have talked with you about in your capacity as the Climate and Infrastructure Committee Chair is, I really care about multifamily recycling and composting. I represent one of the more dense wards in our city, and there are so many of my constituents that don't have access to recycling or composting at all. And so how can my constituents be a part of contributing to zero waste when those very basic options don't exist for them? So I'm really excited to work with you on that in the coming months and years. And then wanted to just end with asking if it would be amenable to Councilmember Cashman and the authors for me to be an author on this resolution as well.
Yes.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I couldn't agree more with Councilmember Jenkins' comments earlier, and I wanted to add in my own. I am supporting this resolution today, and I thank all the authors for their hard work and dedication to this. I also want to thank those in the audience today, and also those that can't be here in person. We also, and next, need an honest conversation about the negative environmental impacts of what this means when we close the Herk. And by we, I don't mean us. This is owned and decided by the county. The alternatives for trash disposal also have significant environmental impacts. And closure of the Herk, without massively changing how much we put into it, would only increase emissions and reverse the progress that we've made on our climate action goals. According to Hennepin County, approximately 10,000 semi-trucks will be added to our roads to move waste to landfill instead. These are large diesel vehicles traveling farther distances with more air pollution and more emissions. The Herk's closure will also end up with increased costs to Minneapolis solid waste customers and businesses due to the added expense for this kind of hauling. And the burden of these increases is disproportionately felt by low-income residents, and I can't stress that enough. How we address this problem has to have our low-income residents at the forefront of this conversation. I've long worked to put in place and then champion policies that support our city's zero waste plan. I've been a champion of organics collection, and I'm proud that organics is available to every single family home in our city, but that's not all of our city. We have a long way to go to get to these other dwelling types, commercial properties, businesses, more restaurants than have it today to participate at an appreciable level. Until we can better manage and decrease our trash production, closing the Herk will only push negative impacts elsewhere. So I ask us all to also commit here to not do that as we move forward. Thank you.
Councilmember Vita.
Thank you. I wanted to just thank all of the advocates, the community members, Ward 4 residents who successfully advocated on behalf of this resolution. I've had so many conversations with folks, and in those conversations I've shared my personal story. I grew up in what was referred to as the toxic donut, and I moved to Minneapolis because my mom wanted herself and her 3 children out of the toxic donut, and I moved to North Minneapolis when I moved from Chicago. And I'm also a cancer survivor who probably had the cancer I had was related to environmental implications. So probably growing up in the toxic donut. Other people I know had the same cancer I had, which was rare. So if you got 2 people from the same community with it and only 100 people have it, chances are you got it from the same place you lived in. So when advocates came to me, I wanted to make sure that they know, that you all know I'm on your side. I appreciate how you're advocating for for folks. And the reality is, what I've learned in this process more than anything is my personal responsibility. When I think about zero waste, we've had so many conversations about this in the past couple of weeks. I have to think about, how I consume and things I can do as an individual. And so that's back on the forefront of my mind, is how do I do better as an individual, and how I get people around me to do better, because that's the starting place. I wouldn't wish chemo on anyone. It's hard, it's taxing. Some of the people that I've met with that's advocating for the Herk is going through chemo right now. It's fighting a battle of cancer, and it's not easy at all. The hardest thing is when you do participate in treatment or radiation or whatever, and you find out you still have to fight more. I had an 8-year battle. Some people have a one-time battle. Some people have a long-term battle. And I never want that for anyone. So I want to make sure I take personal responsibility for whatever it is. And that's really looking at how I waste and how I consume. And also just, I want you all to know more than anything, I want to work hard with you to accomplish the goals you set out. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how much time that's going to take us. I don't know what government agencies are all going to be involved in that, but I want to be a part of that work. Whether that's a North Minneapolis resident or a city council member, I think it's important that we all take part in accomplishing the goal of all of us being healthy, all of us breathing clean air. And so I appreciate the advocacy. I can just tell that, this is the beginning, and you all will keep up the fight. And I'm here to keep up the fight with you and to make sure that all of our environmental goals are accomplished. Thank you so much for your tireless advocacy.
Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to vote for this. The author has done really good work, good homework, working with the staff. I can see a unanimous vote coming up here, which is always pleasant to be part of. And to the audience, I do want to echo that it's you that have to help us with this. We can pass this resolution, but you have to work with the county. It's their facility. They have to figure out how we can increase our recycling. And I'm sitting here reflecting, this plant, if you can imagine, the original site was the Upper Harbor Park, the new park where we're putting all the housing across from the power plant up there. The second site was down on Plymouth Avenue and the river. And then this was actually the third site. So this has been controversial, to someone's point here on the council. Since day one, this has been controversial, and now it's on the forefront again, and we have to be united with the citizens and the electeds here at the city to work with the county and solve this problem.
Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Council President Payne. I'll keep my comments pretty brief. I just want to thank the advocates who have shown up to City Hall, many who have continued to email our offices asking us to take action. I'm proud to vote in favor of this item today. I think it's an important step in the right direction, and I see this, the closure of the Herk, very close. And I see it intertwined with many of the fights that we have on the south side when it came to the Roof Depot battle, making sure we got bituminous roadways out of there, and Smith Foundry, and want to make sure that I give, this environmental justice fight and advocacy to improve the lives of many residents across our city are all intertwined. And for that reason, and because residents in North deserve to breathe clean air, I'll be in favor of this today too.
Councilmember Jenkins.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I think I already spoke, didn't I? I must have accidentally hit my...
You're all good. You're all good. It looks like everybody, we cleared out the queue. I'll just say thank you to everyone who came and joined us today. This is a true reflection of people power in our city, and this is what happens when our community is united with our elected officials. And there's a lot more work for us to do, and I know that we'll be able to do it together. So thank you. And with that, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley. Aye. Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and that is adopted. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Okay. We are next moving on to our Committee of the Whole, which will be presented by that committee's Vice Chair, Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee of the Whole is bringing forward 4 items today. Number 1 is a gift acceptance from the American Public Health Association for registration fees. Number 2 is 2024-2025 calendar of regular meetings. Number 3 is Community Commission on Police Oversight Rules. Number 4, contract with Minnesota Crisis Intervention Training for crisis intervention training and crisis intervention refresher. I'll move all items for approval.
Councilmember Chowdhury has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? Not seeing any. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and the report is adopted. The final report will be offered by our Public Health and Safety Committee, which will be presented by that committee's chair, Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item number 1 is accepting a grant from the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services to focus on recruitment and retention of women in law enforcement. Item number 2 is accepting a grant from the Minnesota Department of Health to implement the statewide Health Improvement Partnership Grant. And item number 3 is approving a legislative directive requesting an overview of data analysis and processes used to assign violence interrupters across our city. I'll move approval of item 1 through 2, and I'll separate item number 3 for discussion as there is an amendment. And Mr. President, I believe there are a few folks that want to become an author on item number 1, so I'll let you proceed with that.
Councilmember Chavez has moved approval of items 1 through 3 on the committee report. 1 through 2 on the committee report. Is there any discussion on those items? I'll recognize Councilmember Cashman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to become a co-author on item number 1 with Councilmember Chavez.
Councilmember Cashman has requested co-authorship. Looks like there's no objection. I will recognize Councilmember Koski.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to speak to item number 1 as well. Have been working for a very long time, my entire 2 terms, on an initiative called 30 by 30, which is trying to bring 30% female to law enforcement. And this was a grant opportunity that I had spoken to our department about applying for. And so I'm really grateful to see this coming forward and looking forward to hearing the results after getting some of this funding. So thank you so much to our chief and to our department for making this happen. And I would also like to be a co-author. Thank you.
Councilmember Koski has also requested co-authorship, and it looks like there are no objections to that. And with that, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on items 1 and 2.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Yeah, Shannon herself.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and those items are adopted. Next, we will take up item number 3, and I will call on Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. Colleagues, as I let you know in the COW meeting on Tuesday and in front of you now is a substitute legislative directive. It is also co-authored with Councilmember Wansley, and it does give a little bit more description about what we're asking for here. So the goal is to understand how the Neighborhood Safety Department uses crime and safety data to determine when and where to assign violence interrupters, and specifies from Minneapolis, group violence intervention, youth group violence intervention, and how technical assistance providers have advised on how to improve and strengthen deployment based on data. It also asks for an overview of the evaluation criteria for the Violence Prevention Services, previously called Violence Prevention Fund, and community trauma response funding and applications, including geographic distribution, amount of funding, and intended program outcomes. There's a few other items on the legislative directive, but we're also looking for how is the Neighborhood Safety Department coordinating with the Hennepin County Metro Transit and Downtown Improvement District, complementary personnel that do the same sort of complementary safety work, and the metrics by which this department is evaluating the success of violence interrupters. And this has been, looked at by the departmental staff, and it's going to be presented in front of the committee already this year in November. So really looking forward to diving into some of this information. And also, just in the context of this program, we just received a $2.5 million grant for our community violence interrupter program from the federal level. So it's a really good time for us to evaluate its effectiveness and make sure that we're spending that federal money wisely. And I'll move this substitute for approval.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Jenkins.
Great.
Thank you, President Payne. This is another late amendment, though we were warned it was coming. I don't have a problem with the intent of the amendment. It feels like, it's asking for a lot of information in a very short period of time. I think the requested date is November 20th, which just feels like a really, I don't know how else to say it, an unfair burden to put on staff to be able to come up with this information in that time frame. And I'm wondering if the author or authors would be willing to extend the deadline.
Councilmember Cashman or Councilmember Wansley who's best to speak to that? Councilmember Wansley?
Sure. I would say I'm not amenable to extending the deadline in the sense that, as Councilmember Cashman noted, we are going to have representation from OCS coming to present at PHS, as well as the Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee. And ideally, this is information that they should already have, as communicated by Director Luana Nelson-Brown, where she says much of this information has been gathered, that it's ongoing, that they have been tracking their meetings with Hennepin County. So again, this should be information that they can readily provide. We even asked this as early as of AO this Monday for, honestly, a follow-up on number 2, and still have not received it. So I do know, again, in response to that, Director Nelson-Brown said the information was available. We're just asking provided in a public space, and we think a month is pretty decent time frame to provide information that they have communicated that they already have.
Councilmember Jenkins?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a month. Today is October 31st and November 20th. That's well less than a month.
Councilmember Wansley?
Also, Councilmember Jenkins, I think you also are aware we are at the end of the term, where we only have about 1 meeting left before the end of the year. So we wanted to make sure that this information was provided to us before we start going into budget deliberations, as Councilmember Cashman has said. This is information also, once again, we have been asking this department and leadership for quite some time, for several months, in both the respective committees of PHS and the Administration and Enterprise Oversight. So they've had time to provide this beforehand. We're hoping they will do so before the end of the year.
Councilmember Jenkins?
Well, I guess the reason why they haven't been able to provide this information, I would assume, it's challenging to congregate and or collate and bring forward. So that's my concern with this amendment.
And Councilmember Cashman, did you want an opportunity to speak to the question?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to note, I sent this to the departmental leadership on October 11th, 20 days ago, and asked if there was any objection to the content or the timeline, and there was none. So just wanted to make sure to say that the conversation has been happening for 20 days.
Thank you. Councilmember Osman.
Thank you. I'm glad this is coming forward because I always wonder, there are places that really need violent interrupters, but they don't have it. This department alone has told us many times that there's no staff, there's no capacity. Well, on the budget briefing, they told us that they fully staffed. So I'm hoping that they will let us know how they make decisions, because there are places in my district that really can use this help and resources. I have talked to the coalitions and the residents to reach out to the commissioner himself. I was now told how they make that decision. I brought that question up, but this is really a good information that we can use to tackle some of the challenges we have in our district. I'll tell you that the violent interrupters have worked in my area. They have worked some areas in Minneapolis, and we're super happy to have it. But how do we decide that? How do we get to that? How do we bring this team here? It's super helpful. So we want to partner. I want to partner with the department, neighborhood safety department, to really make sure that we are tackling some of the safety challenges in our neighborhood. People are eager to work with the department, and neighborhood organizations and neighborhood coalitions are eager to work with the department. But we want this information, and I'll ask the commissioner and his department to partner with each council member's office, and so you can meet the need of each district. Thank you.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to extend my gratitude for the authors for bringing this. I'm not on the Public Health and Safety Committee, so I don't get to have like the one-to-one committee work and understanding the level that I do in other committees. But what I do know is this is something that many of my constituents have brought up as a question, especially around the discussions around delay in contracts going out. It's clear that this work needs a level of oversight, and I think this information, as another council member pointed out, is information that should already exist. We've had violence interrupters and violence prevention for a while in the city of Minneapolis. We have a new commissioner of the Office of Community Safety, a director for neighborhood safety and department that I think has had ample time to be able to share this type of work product. And if the answer is in committee that no, they don't have some of the answers to some of these questions, that's something that this council ought to know so we can take action and make decisions.
Seeing no one else left in queue, I will ask the clerk to call the roll on item number 3 as amended.
Councilmember Viton.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and that item is adopted, completing our reports. And with that, that completes all of our standing reports of our standing committees. The next order of business is notice of ordinance introductions. We have 3 ordinances today from Council Members Chavez, Chowdhury, and Council Vice President Shugtai, all of which relate to establishing authorized and regulated safe outdoor spaces or individualized outdoor sheltering options for people experiencing unsheltered homelessness. These ordinance amendments are in several chapters located in the Building, Health, and Sanitation and Zoning Codes. Is there any discussion on those items? Councilmember Cashman?
Sorry, President Payne, this is not on those items, but just a motion to add a notice of ordinance amendment.
We have that at the, we did that at the top of the hour. I can also say we have your notice that was offered by Vice President Chuck Tai, which was added to the agenda at the beginning. This is an amendment to the licenses and business regulations code, amending provisions related to the location restrictions of licensed tobacco dealers. Are there any discussions or questions on any of those notices? Seeing none, those notices are hereby given and no further action is required at this time. The next order of business is the introduction and referral calendar. Councilmember Cashman and Vice President Chuck Tai move to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending Appendix C1 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances related to CenterPoint Energy Minnesota Gas and gas franchise for first reading and referral to the Climate and Infrastructure Committee, extending the franchise through April 17th, 2025. Is there any discussion on this introduction? Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Vito.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Chuck Tai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and this matter will be referred to the Climate and Infrastructure Committee in the next cycle. The next order of business is resolutions. As shown on the agenda, we have 3 honorary resolutions. Are there any questions or comments from council members on those resolutions? May I have a motion to adopt these honorary resolutions?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Vito.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Chuck Tai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and those resolutions are adopted. And the next order of business is new business. We have one item today which was added to our agenda at the beginning of this meeting. This is a request to the city auditor relating to an after-action review of the case involving Davis Maturi and John Sawchuk. This is being brought forward by several council members, but I'll call on the lead author, Councilmember Wansley, to introduce the item and move it for approval.
Thank you, Council President Payne. As I shared, this motion requests that the city auditor undertake independent evaluation of the city's actions and lack thereof in the case of Davis Maturi and John Sawchuk. As we discussed this past Tuesday, it is heartbreaking to see in this case that MPD failed to protect another Black resident. And I know there are so many questions about how this was allowed to happen that residents are asking. I know Mr. Maturi himself are asking this and even brought it up in the many email correspondence that is also attached or will be attached to this legislative file for public review. Again, I know residents want to know that if they ever find themselves in a nightmare situation where their safety or their lives are at risk and they call 911, that the city will send the right person for the job to protect them in the way that is safe, respectful, and effective. And residents want to know that there will be, in this case, the delivery of service for them, regardless of if they're Black, white, or another race. And I know that's not too much to ask for, but that is not what Mr. Maturi got. And we have the responsibility to figure out how and why this lapse occurred and then carry out full accountability for any individual actors or city policies that allowed it to happen so it won't be replicated. And I know an independent evaluation is crucial for ensuring that the council and the public has an unbiased review of how MPD, the Office of Community Safety, and the mayor's office, who is the sole authority over MPD, how did those respective parties handle this situation? And we are requesting the city auditor to undertake this independent evaluation using the authority of that office, which can compel full disclosure of information by the administration in order to have rigorous oversight and evaluation. I will also note that the city's recent after action reviews have also been conducted by external contractors with organizations that specialize in that type of evaluation. And it is a practice that I, as an author, I would strongly support if it allows the auditor's office to complete this review in a timely manner. So I'll wrap it up here, as I know some of my colleagues might have comments or questions, but I do want to close by saying that Mr. Matori's life mattered, and I'm sorry that MPD did not treat it as such for almost a year. And I know I and my colleagues are committed to taking meaningful action for accountability and restoration. And hopefully some of that starts with this particular independent review.
Councilmember Wansley has moved this item. It's got several co-authors, including myself, so it doesn't need a second. I will call on Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is more of a technical clarification. Is council allowed to direct the auditor now, or is this being sent to PAR or oversight and evaluation?
I will call on the city attorney to answer that question.
Council President, Councilmember Palmisano, the council is not permitted to direct the auditor, which is why this is a request. So the auditor is completely independent. This body can make requests of the auditor. The auditor gets to independently decide whether he is or isn't going to take this on to do this work, and whether or not to contract it. I mean, all of those decisions are in the auditor's hands to make, which is, again, why this is framed as a request. It is not a direction. It is not a requirement.
Thank you. Just one brief comment. I support this directive. Obviously, we all get involved in neighbor-to-neighbor disputes that go on, and some for years. In this case, this individual had problematic behavior for many years, and I hope that the scope of this review will include enough history of calls, not just from both parties involved here, but also the scope of asking the county to get involved, both COPE and the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, and what was sent back and forth. And also the whole ecosystem of public safety that we are building here, in all of the different touch points and sources that could have gotten involved, not after Mr. Sawchek shot at Mr. Moturi, but for months on end beforehand, because it is important to get the whole scope of this situation in its review. And while Councilmember Jenkins, I know, has been a deep part of it over a very long period of time, I'm not sure that all that other information is known at all to the public, and it deserves to be. Thank you.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President. I first wanted to request that I be added as an author of this action. Thank you. And I'll just say and echo what our discussion was a little bit in the committee of the whole. We have to be able to look at situations like this and speak very clear-eyed and speak very honestly about the fact that there was a major systemic failure here in the delivery of services from the Minneapolis Police Department. And what many residents are bringing up is something you can't untangle, which is a racialized nature of this, right? The difference that happens between residents who are Black, Brown, Indigenous calling for services, or seeing clearance rates when it comes to investigations versus white residents. And we should continue to have that within our conversations. Mr. Matori's life matters, and I hope that this is meaningful progress. I'm supportive of an independent investigation. I think that's really, really key to center here, to avoid biases. And lastly, I'll just say I echo what Councilmember Palmisano said about the whole public safety ecosystem, right? I think it is convenient to only look at the police chief, but in our conversations about the police contract itself over and over again as council members. We were told who holds the chief accountable, and that is the mayor, and that's an undeniable truth. And I think this investigation should be encouraged to look at who holds that department accountable, and also consider our leadership within the Office of Community Safety. There's a reason why we built out the Office of Community Safety, and all of their actions matter here as they are a part of the public safety ecosystem. And I think the public deserves to know what the interactions were that led to this failure of service.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. I'll start by saying I am a co-author on this, and so I fully support this request for independent evaluation and analysis of what happened in this scenario. I'll speak as someone who was deeply engaged in this process for many, many months. And, you know, I've had to state this to many of my constituents that there were responses to Mr. Maturi's inquiries. And I've been doing this work as a policy aide and subsequently as a council member for many, many, many years, and neighbor-to-neighbor disputes. You know, you blew your leaves in my yard, you parked in front of my house. These things happen all the time, and it is really, really a tricky and difficult situation for the city to insert itself into those disputes. I generally advise people to seek mediation in these kinds of events. And early on, I made that suggestion to this group. But in July, I believe, the situation really escalated beyond just a neighbor-to-neighbor dispute. There were terroristic threats made. There were assaults made on Mr. Maturi. And there was disgusting acts of, you know, personal animus where feces was deposited in Mr. Maturi's home through their mailbox. And so that family has tremendously suffered many, many hardships. And, you know, my heart goes out to them. I personally spoke with Mr. Maturi last week and offered my sincere apologies that this happened, my condolences, and my best wishes for his speedy recovery. I want to thank my colleagues who joined me in sending flowers to the family as an expression of our concern in this matter. Police did respond. They were trying to figure out a strategy to have a safe extraction. I really believe, and I echo what has been said about this whole system of public safety that we are trying to create. And I think there were many failures throughout this process. And I hope that this independent evaluation can help us determine what some of those failures were. And then we can act appropriately to either, I think, I'm trying to find the word, to address these situations, for lack of a better term, and to plan and create policies so that this type of thing doesn't happen. I do think we have to be really thoughtful and careful about this, because there are times when police are called on false issues too. And sometimes many times it's directed at people of color and black people. And so we have to be really, really deliberate and careful about how these policies play out. And so, this is going to require a lot of effort and work on our part, and I'm standing here to be a part of that work and appreciate the authors for bringing this forward. And in fact, I requested this from the council president right after our conversation during the committee of the whole on Tuesday, and so happy to see this being coming forward. Thank you.
Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. Thank you to the authors of this for bringing this forward today. And to Mr. Maturi, I also offer an apology because in this case, our city and our police failed you. But I also want to say to folks in the community who are questioning, why is the council weighing in on a police case? And I've had a lot of communication like that. To that, I say it is our shared goal to provide oversight and accountability of our police department. And this is what police accountability looks like. We as a body and as a community deserve to know what protocols were being used in this case and where and at which moments they failed not only Mr. Maturi, but all of his neighbors as well. And I'm specifically concerned with a lack of meaningful victim services that we have in our city to restore and heal from some of the trauma that the neighbors have experienced over the course of this entire case, but specifically during the raid on Sunday evening. So, and I would also request if I could be a co-author on this as well.
Absolutely. I added myself to queue because I just wanted to acknowledge and recognize that this is actually bigger than just this one incident. And I think some of my comments, I think Councilmember Palmisano, Councilmember Chowdhury really elevated the systemic nature of this failure. And systems are made of people. And when systems fail, there's inevitably people in that system that are failing. And I really want to elevate this so that we can get to this deeper understanding and a more mature understanding of what it means to be able to be responsive to these system failures. I was so disappointed when I saw the first reaction was defensiveness, but I was happy to see that, the chief came out and apologized for failing Mr. Maturi. I think that is an appropriate thing to do. I feel like I failed Mr. Maturi. I'm sure Councilmember Jenkins feels similarly. And the sad irony is that I was meeting with the mayor early last week to talk about how we can have a more productive relationship between city council as a body and the administration through the mayor. And I was trying to highlight some areas of opportunity where we could work more closely together. And I specifically brought up this issue of neighbor mediation and how this is something I have been failing to help one of my constituents, a young black homeowner, first-time homeowner in her family, and she's being harassed by her neighbors, and she feels that it is completely racist. And I have been trying and trying and trying, and the last answer that I've gotten from our city attorney is that this is actually a civil matter that really the city doesn't have a role in, and so they should just get attorneys to navigate that. And that's not something that a lot of people have the resources for, and so I would really love for our city to have some sort of neighbor mediation service that we could help navigate some of these challenges before they escalate to violence. It's a failure of our mental health system. Mr. Sawchuk has a clear known history of mental health challenges of which we don't have an institutional response for to support him. And it elevated to the point of him conducting a violent act against his neighbor, which is clearly has racial undertones to it, if not out and out racially motivated. And it is really hard to acknowledge failure when you're feeling it on a personal level. And there is a very easy defensiveness that we get when we feel like we're getting called out for our failures. We need to elevate this conversation beyond that kind of personal sense of slight and start recognizing that we really want to build a system of accountability, not just within our police department, but in our city. And I think that it is incorrect to set our police department out on some island as though it has a completely detached culture from the city of Minneapolis. Now, does each department have its own unique cultural properties? Yes, but it's all a part of a larger system. And I think that when we can all acknowledge our own failures, not take it personally, have the ability to lean into that and do things like, willfully conduct independent investigations so that we can learn from those failures, I think that's when we're going to start building that culture of accountability that we really are expecting and our community is demanding of this institution. And so I'm just really grateful for all of my colleagues willing to co-author this and pursue this very wide-eyed and with the intention of improving how we show up for our community. And I'll call back on Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne, and I apologize because I do respect the fact that you probably should have had the last word on this, but I wanted to just come back and offer my apologies to the neighbors, the surrounding neighbors, because the impact of bringing in the SWAT team, the wee hours of the morning, had a significant impact on the entire block and surrounding blocks. And so just want to offer my apologies to them and state that I think some of the deliberation that MPD was having included that thought process as well. So I just wanted to apologize to those neighbors for that that disruption. And this event certainly was deeply impactful to the Maturi family, but to the entire neighborhood as well. Thank you.
Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Council President Payne. I just wanted to also share my commitment to my colleagues, and I know, and I'm speaking for Councilmember Chavez as the chair of Public Health and Safety, but we have been working for several months to try to get the administration and have had many conversations with Commissioner Barnett about how are we going to formally adopt the Safe and Thriving Communities Plan, because part of that plan is having a restorative division, which we currently have within the Neighborhood Safety Department. And all of the suggestions that you all are naming right now in terms of the need for victim services or mediation services, ideally, this would be the place where that could be located. And this would be great if we had the leadership of the Office of Community Safety as well as the Neighborhood Safety Department, working with us closely to realize some of these suggestions in light of this case. So I will, again, give my commitment. We're having conversations in the next week with Barnett and to bring this up to figure out how the administration and council can work together to advance some of those solutions.
Great. And with that, I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitak.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Vice President Shabtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and the item is adopted. Colleagues, we'll now take up any announcements. Do any council members have announcements to share?
Yes.
Councilmember Osman.
Thank you. Usually it's done by Councilmember Allison, but next Tuesday is Election Day. And I'm encouraging all the residents of Minneapolis to go out and vote. We do have pop-up locations. Cedar Cultural Center is having one today, and Cedar Riverside. So go ahead and do that. And just community, just be vigilant. I'm talking to some of the imams or the mosque leaders tomorrow, meeting with them for any safety concern, anything you hear. Please let the law enforcement know, and have a wonderful election week.
Mr. President.
Mr. Clerk.
Because elections was brought up, I apologize to others who are in queue, but I I wanted to say thank you on behalf of the election judges, the election team, our seasonal workers, and our intermittent staff. You adopted a resolution today declaring next Tuesday, not just Election Day, but Election Judge Appreciation Day. And I wanted to just kind of comment on that a little bit because, Mr. President, you said that, really democracy is what they're offering on Election Day. That's the business they're in, is the business of democracy. And it's true. I've said before during our budget presentations, the most important part of my job is being the city's chief elections official and really taking that seriously. And that the Elections and Voter Services team, Director Smith, and all of her workers, her core team, all of whom are certified professional elections administrators, all of our election workers, many of whom come back year after year, are student election judges. They're a great crew, but they are most importantly the folks that guard that constitutional guarantee to access the ballot box, and the work that they do has a significant impact on the day-to-day lives that we have here in the United States and here in Minneapolis, and we are blessed in the community, in the city of Minneapolis, to have one of, biased, the best elections team in the United States. So thank you for your recognition of their hard work today.
Thank you. Councilmember Vita.
Thank you, Chair. Colleagues, just wanted to share two things. The first thing is, as the commissioner of the MBC, I've had the honor and pleasure of seeing our new space on the 3rd floor. It is looking fantastic over there. The completion date is March. They're on time. Things are going well. They're finding lots of stuff. They found a staircase. They found lots of marble. It's beautiful. Lots of windows. Windows are way bigger than we thought they were. And so it's exciting. I think we're going to be on time for this. They're saying March completion and maybe new move-in April. I hope we stay to that plan, but it's looking really good over there as of now. And I really love the new layout because we're still going to be close to the clerks. I've grown to love being this close to the clerks in our temporary space. So it looks good over there. It's coming along really well, and I'm excited for you all to see it. I'm excited for everyone to see the finished product, and it smells a lot better over there too than it does over here. Second thing is the health department launched its first mobile medical unit this week, and the mobile medical unit is another cool initiative that I'm excited about. As someone who's worked in public health, I know firsthand how important it is for people to get services where they are. And so this mobile medical unit is going to do many things. It's going to provide just primary care to folks. It's also going to have an opioid response component. You're going to be able to see a dentist, and this is going to meet Minneapolis residents where they are, and the health department has done a great job at launching this and creating a plan of care that ensures everyone in Minneapolis has great health outcomes. So again, another exciting opportunity coming out of the Minneapolis Health Department.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is suggested by the clerk, so not an announcement. I forgot to request to add myself as a co-author to the cannabis zoning text amendment. If the author, Councilmember Osmond, is okay with that, I'd love to be added as a co-author.
It looks like there's no objection from the body. Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to announce a very happy occasion, which is that the county is going to create some juvenile housing. And that was the top headline in the paper yesterday. I'm sure you all saw it, but I have been a big critic, and I want to, and now I want to compliment them. They do realize that they need to solve that problem first and foremost. We all have to participate, especially the state. But the county took a big step forward, and I commend them for that.
Yeah, that's a great recognition, and it kind of speaks to this theme of the systemic failures that we have. These are not personal critiques, but just a real gap in our system. I'm glad that it's being recognized. Thanks for highlighting that. Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, President Payne. Since this is the last day of October, and I think these people thought they was just going to get away with it, I do want to wish a very happy birthday to Councilmember Jason Chavez. Also, Councilmember Ellison fled, so couldn't sing. But his birthday also was a month ago. Oh, Councilmember Koski. Oh, Pay. Oh, just a quick happy birthday to you all. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear everybody. Everybody. Happy birthday to you. That's it.
Now in Spanish.
No, wait. Oh,
Feliz cumpleaños.
I was kidding. I was just, whoa.
Cumpleaños feliz. Cumpleaños. No.
I'm shook. I was kidding.
Cumpleaños feliz.
And with that, there is no further business to come before the council, and without objection, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone.